Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk, a discussion about all things automotive. I'm Corey.
And I'm Matt, and each week this podcast will serve as a catalyst for discussion on all sorts of topics that range from books to all kinds of things. I messed it up completely.
Yeah, for a while there, we actually had that pre-recorded. Whatever happened to that?
Well, this week we're talking books.
Yes.
Week, in particular, Mr. Michael J. Myers, Myers.
Yes.
Not the one that comes to... Yeah,
Wait,
not
that's
that
not
one.
right.
Not that one. No. The children's book author,
right.
Mike Myers, who...
Motorhead Garage Productions.
Yes, with...
T is for Turbo was the book that started this whole conversation between our podcast and his book writing productions.
Yeah.
So,
and he's got a total of 7 books. I was looking, actually, while we're in the interview. Shh, don't tell. He's got
he knows now.
7 books total and 5 different stories in the midst of all those books. And the one in particular that we had him on for today was a joint effort between he and Vaughn Gittin Jr.,
which you were super stoked about and super jealous about.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
I could just see you over there beaming with excitement. So, yes, we had a lot of fun, not only talking about this new book and the process of writing it and the delays and all the fun and yes, all the behind-the-scenes stuff of what it takes to get a children's book to print. But the joy is we found out that Vaughn has not shared anything about this yet other than putting it on his website.
Yeah.
So we are expecting a nice little surge. So, if you want to beat that surge, you heard it here.
That's right.
We've got links down in the show notes to purchase the books. We'll say it a few more times throughout the episode. But definitely, go check out Michael J. Myers and all that he's doing. Because like I said, T is for Turbo is the book that we here in the Fornique household started with because it was the perfect time for Tucker. He was getting into the alphabet. And, it perfect time, perfect place. And,
most definitely.
So it was really fun to have Mike on this week. So why don't we just...
okay. the title of the book, because we haven't mentioned that yet.
I was going to kind of save it and let Michael be the one
all right.
to drop the name of it.
Okay.
So,
right.
Yeah. Why don't we just go on and get into the episode before we spoil too much of it? So, all right.
Here we go.
Well, Mike, it is absolutely great to have you back. It has been just a little bit since we've talked to you last, and if I'm not mistaken, you have a new book out. We'll just jump right into it and get to talking about your new ventures. What has life been like?
I'm on my next venture for sure. It's almost been about 2 years working on this one. And I'll just go back to it. About 2 years ago, I was just, normal day, and I received an email from Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s assistant. He reached out to me, said, Vaughn really likes my books. He reads them to his kid, and they were interested in writing a book. And I saw his name on my email, and I grew up, watching his videos, but I saw his name pop up on my email, and I legitimately dropped to the floor, right down on the ground. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And, it was just a huge opportunity. I actually, I ended up writing him a rough draft probably within 24 hours and sent it over to him. And it was like, yeah, man, I want to do it. Here's an idea that I just came up with. And, the book we wrote was nowhere near what my first draft, but, like I said, I worked on it for about 2 years now. And, the title of the book is Brocky, the Brave Little Race Truck and His Rocky Climb to the Top. It's got a good theme to it. There's some bullying that Brocky overcomes in it. He's a little different in appearance, so it's kind of the theme of, it doesn't matter what you look like, just matters how you perform. Right. Never giving up is a big theme that we did it, and then Vaughn's whole theme is having fun. So
that's awesome.
The whole theme behind that would be, obviously just make a good time out of anything.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was an honor. Such an opportunity. Like I said, I just dove headfirst into it. Unfortunately, we had, a strange year last year, so
What
we
are
had
you
some
talking
delays.
about? What are you talking about?
Just some new hurdles to get over. But yeah, everything went great. My illustrator Rich killed it again as usual, and then I have a couple other people that helped me. Catherine is my designer; she nailed it as well, and then some help from my buddy Matt, some graphic design work, and it all came together right at the end. And I'm super proud of it. I think it's hands down the best book I've written so far.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we will be getting copies, I am sure, for our kids. So, Tucker, just today, unprompted by me, just found it completely perfect timing, brought a bunch of books to me to read to him this afternoon. And one of them was T is for Turbo. And
Awesome.
the book that started our connection to one another. And I was just thought it was very cool that he brought that one to me. So I'm sure he will enjoy Brocky and his adventures as soon as we get into that here over at the Garage Talk home base.
Absolutely. I definitely got to get you both a couple copies of the books. So after this, definitely send me your address.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate that. So, walk us through. We've had several moments similar to that where through podcasting we've made connections we probably never thought we would have ever made. And I remember we've had Bogey Latiner from All Girls Garage on the Motor Trend app, and I remember when we got that email, Matt and I were both like looking at each other like, is this for real? Is this really happening? You know, that first real big, like you said, you literally dropped your phone. It's one of those surreal moments where you're like, is this really happening? And yeah, so dig a little deeper into that for us. Like, has it become a normal relationship? Has the newness worn off, or do you still have to pinch yourself?
No, I mean I still have to pinch myself for sure. What came shortly after that was a phone call with Vaughn and his assistant, and that went on for probably an hour and 15 minutes. And I remember, the nerves and everything prior to, I was, sweating bullets, and then, afterwards just completely overcome with like joy, excitement, and then motivation. It was like, all right, time to get to work.
That's too cool.
Yeah, within, what'd you say, 24 hours you had a copy in his hands?
Yeah, I sent him over. I mean, it was yeah, if not that day, it was the next day. I mean, I got to writing immediately. As soon as, I think before I even responded to the email, I was thinking of how I could write the book. But yeah, I pretty much just told him, flat out, yeah, I'm your guy. I'll put everything aside. I want to write this book for you. And then I figured I would, that was my opportunity. I wasn't going to miss it. So yeah, I wrote a story and sent it over to him.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So not quite to the point of, Vaughn and Mike kind of a conversation. He's still Vaughn getting junior, right? Is it?
Yeah.
I've been following a lot of his stuff on YouTube, and he runs a lot with Cletus McFarland and all the stuff that they've got going on. And so, yeah, when I saw that you guys had paired up to do this book, I probably wasn't as surprised as you were when you got the email, but it super excited me at the opportunity for both of you and for my kids too. Like, this is awesome. Like, I know Brocky, I've seen Brocky, and I know about Vaughn, and all this. Yeah, that's really, really cool. And to know that Vaughn has written a book with you, and I've been on podcasts with you. It just blew my mind in the whole process of everything as well.
6 degrees of separation, and
right?
all that, all that jazz. So
yeah, it's definitely exciting stuff.
Yeah. So going through the timeline, I do remember in our episode, for those of you who haven't heard it yet, episode 32, Noisy Snails and Car Tales, I do remember you saying, just giving a little sneak peek that there was something big coming up. It sounds like you were well in the throes of this, making this happen way back when we spoke last. So very good keeping your cool on that. I would be I would be bursting at the seams like you don't know how awesome this project is that I've got coming up. Like, stay tuned. Like, you kept your cool well.
It was a tough secret to keep, I'll be honest, and it definitely wasn't a complete secret because my close friends and family, they all knew about it.
Right.
And anytime I showed them a new image or a new picture from it, I don't show anyone. Do not show anyone. It's just, all my books now I try to keep under wrap until pretty much publication, because I mean, just with the way the internet is now, an idea can get stolen in a minute.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
it's just a matter of a little bit of secrecy, and this one was definitely a tough one to keep.
Yeah, we have our fair share of secrets we keep over here, just some projects that we're working on, and I feel guilty every time I tease something. Like, we've got something really big in the works. You're just going to want to hang around and, subscribe and do all that stuff that, the YouTubers and internet people tell you to do. But to your point, an idea can be stolen so easily, or, 2020 could happen and the world completely changes and you have to reconfigure your schedule and how things happen. But yes, I definitely know how something so exciting can just eat at you that you want to shout it from the mountaintops. But that's what you get to do now, right? You're on the book tour, so to speak, and you do get to share all the ins and outs and just the joy of how this came to be.
Absolutely. It does. It's out there in the world now. Like I said before, I'm waiting for Vaughn to make a post, but I know that will be huge. Yeah. And this weekend is actually Formula Drift in New Jersey, where I reside. So I got a booth there. I'm going to set up a booth there. Vaughn's going to be obviously participating. So hopefully I get a chance to meet him in person. That would be cool. I know he's going to be busy there.
Right.
But Brocky will be there. I will be there. Vaughn will be there. RTR will be there. And hopefully we can, have some kind of collaboration there.
Absolutely. That's too cool.
Yeah, for those of y'all listening, y'all cannot see just the big grin on Matt's face ever since the name Von Ginton Jr. was brought up on this podcast. He's been smiling ear to ear. So, going in, we'll pivot a little away from the book, and you can bring it up at whatever point. Feel free. Don't hesitate. But in your personal automotive life, what has happened since we last spoke way back in September? Any new vehicles in your life? Any new things that have piqued your interest? Because there have been tons of product reveals in the time since we have spoken last as well.
Yeah, so I actually I bought a 20-year-old vehicle.
Okay.
Nothing new.
Okay.
But remember we had spoke before. I was talking about the cross country trip.
Yes.
So I realized I already had my $500 vehicle. So my Subaru is my $500 vehicle.
Yes.
I have that 2.5 RS. I can take that if we want to fulfill that challenge. But I did purchase a purpose-built cross-country vehicle.
Okay.
It's actually a 2000 LX 470. It's a Lexus, which, if you're familiar, is the same. It's pretty much the same thing as the Toyota Land Cruiser.
Right.
So that is my new baby. I fell head over heels in love with it already.
Well,
Clay barred it, waxed it, put some tires on it.
I do remember when you posted that online, that you were looking for a rig to put some miles on. I gave you a good shot into the ribs when I told you minivan.
Yes, I remember.
It is the perfect cross-country mobile. You could throw all the gear in it and then have room for all the people and then still have room in it. So, but yes, I do believe the rig that you've got should be a very fun one to live with as well.
It's still soccer mom status too.
Yeah. So
it's luxury soccer mom though. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, it's nice. It's very nice. For some reason, it was something that was on my radar for a while. I went back and forth with a few options, and then I kept coming back to it. And I kind of just went with my gut on it. Found a nice deal on one. The value on them has gone up crazy. Even since when I bought it, I think at this point, if I sold it right now, I could probably end up even making some money on it if I wanted to. But like I said, I fell head over heels in love with it pretty quick, and I think I'll be keeping it for a while.
Yeah.
I do have this urge to travel. I like road trips, and I think my first road trip, I've been telling myself, I haven't seen the Grand Canyon yet, so I want to go see the Grand Canyon. So I think I'm driving straight there. If there's any pit stops along the way that I need to stop and hang out and, car meets, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
I'm down for some detours.
Awesome.
But I think that will be my destination, will be the Grand Canyon for sure.
Well, if you find your way coming through East Texas, definitely let us know, and we can arrange something and meet up, because
Hey,
this is my full-time gig now, so I can make it happen.
That's right.
that's awesome. I'm more than interested.
Yeah. So it's funny that you bring up the Grand Canyon, because I was just away with some friends this past weekend, and it came up how very close I was to the Grand Canyon on a big group trip with a bunch of teens from church. And instead of going to the Grand Canyon like everyone else did on that trip that were dispersing and going to other states and back home, we ended up going to Santa Fe, New Mexico, which, no knock to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I loved it. Hands down, would go back. But it was not the Grand Canyon. And I was seeing all the posts online of everyone getting to go to the Grand Canyon. So I'm super jealous. I'll say that.
Have you ever been?
No. And I was so close. So we were in Phoenix. That was the destination of our trip. And, coming back, it would have been an hour or so out of the way to head north up to the Grand Canyon, I believe is the way the geography works. Sorry, people, don't roast me. And then, we would have come back through Texas. But instead, we went to Santa Fe, which, again, 10 out of 10 would recommend going back to Santa Fe. We did not get enough time there, and I loved it. The fact that it was the middle of July and it was completely bearable outside because of the altitude, I was a huge fan of that. So it's the middle of June here in Texas, and you go outside and you already had to take a shower again. So
Yeah.
there's that.
Jersey's got some heat over here as well. We had a nice day today, but we've had some 90-degree days creeping up already.
Yeah, it's been a little wild up in the Northeast with the temperatures and stuff lately. That's
It's unpredictable. It's always unpredictable. You could have winter one day and then summer the next, and it's just that's normal to us.
Well, when we get winter, it's either a certain part of a day or a certain part of a week around here, except for this past winter where we were frozen in for the better part of a week. So
I was going to say you got snow this year, right?
Yeah.
That was a
Twice.
big news story I saw.
yeah, we got it twice, which is completely rare for us to get that frequent down here. And the second time was a doozy. So parts of the state without power, without
That's right.
water,
That's right.
without.
Were you guys affected?
Fortunately, here at my house, no. We had a little bit of water issues. Half the plumbing in our house kind of stopped working for a little bit, but other than that, we were relatively unaffected. Matt, I believe y'all lost power briefly, right?
not for very long.
Right.
It came back on pretty quick for us, but we did have a couple of pipes that froze. Nothing broke, thankfully, but we did have some pipes that froze. You would laugh at us, though, Mike, I'm sure, because East Texans and winter doesn't get along well at all. I mean, we had a whole 8 to 12 inches of snow and ice, and it shut the state down for a week.
Yeah, we would keep moving, but 8 to 12 inches. I mean, it's you got to work through that.
Right.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. Granted, most of us, given 2020, were, if at all could be, still working from home. I know I was. And that kind of completely changed everything, because I'm like, man, normally I would love this because it's snow day, can't go into work. My driveway is a hazard unto itself. Did make for a pretty good snow hill, I will say. Everyone joked when we bought this house, I've got a 15-degree incline on our driveway, which severely limits the kind of vehicle that I could purchase and park in my garage. I
I
don't
was going to
think.
say it's like a car guy's worst nightmare.
Yeah,
It really
like
is.
I'm already thinking if I got a C8 Corvette, I would definitely have to get that nose lift package, but would that even be enough? So I do believe when we really start getting into the deep throes of car reviews here for our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GT Garage Talk, that we will have to do a little segment maybe on Instagram or something. Nothing huge, but will it fit up the driveway? That'll be the big catch, and it'll be fun to see what can get up there. But like I said, covered in snow with a sled, pretty fun going down it. Not gonna lie.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you got to at least enjoy some of the snow then.
May or may not have been during work hours. I can neither confirm nor deny any of that. I was monitoring emails. I mean, what? So, yes, I don't work there anymore. So, yeah.
I had the Subaru out. I was cutting donuts and getting stopped by the local police to tell me to go home and think about my actions as I sat in my recliner in my warm house. So I was enjoying it. I was loving every bit of it. I'm not the typical East Texan who was, for the most part, freaking out. But yeah, the Subaru was incredible, getting out and about. And I know that's what they were designed for, was being able to do that. But it just blew me away, the capability of that car in the midst of all of that stuff. So we didn't have any snow plows coming by or anything like that. So whatever was on the ground was on the ground, and that Subaru didn't care.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. I enjoy mine right through the winter. I don't, if it's not 2 feet of snow, at least I'm good. As long as I have a little bit of clearance, it gets me where I need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt's got plans, intentions of making sure he's got a little bit more clearance coming up, but we won't get,
Oh yeah?
we won't get too into the details unless you want to spill the beans, Matt.
I have been wheel and tire shopping like crazy wheel and tire shopping. Like I've looked at 16s and 15s and 17s. I've looked at 7-inch and 8-inch and 9-inch wide wheels and everything in between. And then the tires, like there's this window of area that I can go that's okay. Anything larger in diameter than a 27, and I have to worry about cutting fenders and stuff like that. I mean, the amount of math that I have done for the sake of tires in the past 3 or 4 weeks is ridiculous.
I did it for for my IS 300. While I was working at a car dealership at the time, so I probably like you, Corey, I don't work there anymore. So
Yeah. You can admit to it.
Yeah, but I was on that hunt. I mean, doing the measurements, making phone calls, talking with the guys, making sure I had the clearance. Because the same thing, I didn't want to have to do any crazy modifications. I did end up rolling my front fenders, I did roll my front fenders, but I don't think I needed to.
Okay.
I did it kind of just for extra safety. I needed to roll my rears.
Yeah.
So I rolled my rears, but that was as far as I wanted to go. I didn't want to pull. I didn't want to do anything crazy, no cutting.
Right.
But yeah, it's tough, man. You got to get it down to the millimeter.
Oh yeah, and the factory wheels that are on the car have like a 55 millimeter offset, which sucks them way up underneath the car. And there's, 1.5 inches worth of fender that pokes out over top of it. So I've got plenty of room to go with a much better offset or a lot smaller offset. But yeah, trying to match the offset and the width of the wheel and figuring out how much tire I can run on the inside without it rubbing with that width of the wheel and that offset is just, it's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it, but it's yeah.
The beauty is though the internet. I mean, it's in the forums. There's a lot of people out there. I was looking at a lot of pictures. You can get a good idea of what it's going to look like when people give their measurements, and you can kind of be like, okay, I like that look versus I don't like that look, and then find your happy medium in the middle there.
Definitely.
It's the beauty and the danger of it, because it opens up so many more possibilities that you never thought existed before, and then your mind gets to thinking, and you start spending and
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any trouble spending at all.
It's a dangerous obsession.
Oh. So I saw, I was flipping back through your Facebook. You've been messing around a lot on 2 wheels here lately too. Been getting
always.
the dirt bikes out and playing around.
Always, always. Motorcycles have been a passion of mine for a long time. I think I bought my first street bike when I was 21, I want to say. Um, Either way, my parents hated it. It was
Sounds about right.
it was just, it probably just scared the heck out of them, and I understand that much. But yeah, from that moment on, I've always owned some kind of street vehicle and always a dirt bike or a quad.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I keep itching to pull the trigger on one. It's not the right time yet.
No.
I've got it picked out. I've got it spec'd out. I've built and priced a dozen times. All that stuff. But I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. So waiting on the right one.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, waiting for a little extra cash in my pockets. What I'm waiting on.
Yeah, I hear that. No, but you'll make that purchase and you'll be like, man, why did I wait?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, we're getting into summer, Matt. Just take the jet skis out and just forget about the fact that.
Hey, there you go. You got some water scooters?
Yeah. Well, my wife has a jet ski.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. She has a 2009. I had to think about it. 2009 Sea-Doo Wake 155 that we bought off of a friend of ours who bought it new, and he took immaculate care of it. So it looks brand new. It's a great ski. It's a lot of fun. So we were actually out Saturday playing around in the water with it. So
That's awesome. That's always a good time.
oh yeah.
See, what do you need two wheels for? I'm trying to save you money here, Matt. don't give me that look. Just know that I'm helping you out. Trust me.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. So I don't know which of us has it worse, because Matt likes to look at the projects and the builds and the things that he can do. So generally, he's looking at cheaper rigs than me and looking to build up. Meanwhile, I'm always on the build and price tool with something brand new that just came out, seeing how far I can max it out. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm never gonna, this is never gonna happen. Stop it, Corey. So I'm not quite sure which of us has it worse. You'll probably actually end up pulling the trigger on some of yours versus my $113,000 Grand Wagon here that I built the other day.
Yeah.
Those things are, they're nice.
Yeah.
They are nice. But, yeah.
That's a hefty price tag.
Yes,
Boy,
it is. So much so that Jeep said, you know what? We're not going to put our badge on it. We're going to create a new badge, and we're just going to hide little Easter eggs of the Jeep name around the vehicle. So, yeah, marketing at its finest. What can I say?
So what have you? Are you much on build and price? Do you shop around for much of the new stuff, or do you like the older stuff and sticking with the mid 2000s Lexus SUVs?
Yeah, for some reason I keep going back to that era.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I've never been a new car kind of guy. I was always, couple years used. I made an exception with my ATS-V, but that color just stopped me in my tracks. I went home trying to purchase a used one, not knowing it was a pedestal edition. It was one of 300, and I wasn't going to find another one.
Oh,
Nice.
So that kind of brought me back to it.
yeah.
But yeah, I've always been a used car guy. It's just, I don't know. I like to let them go out in the wild for a little bit and prove themselves, and then from there I kind of pick and choose what I like.
Fair enough.
Diving in a little bit deeper myself, if I had to go back to an era, it would probably be those early to mid 2000s, just because that's when I was 16, 17, 18, coming into my own as a driver. I got the license, and that's when I guess I dreamt the most about vehicles, and the price of those, current issues notwithstanding, are generally reasonable enough that at this point in my life, I could go out and purchase. But yes, the dream vehicle of that era that I want is a big no-go in this household, which If you haven't listened to the episode where we interviewed my wife, we'll just leave it at that. Bad past experiences. I'm not throwing her on. Holly, I love you. I'm not throwing you under the bus here. I'm merely plugging your wonderful, awesome episode. So yeah, go back and listen to that one. But
Well, yeah, now I'm curious.
so yeah. I'm a
Opening up the can of worms.
That's
I'm
right.
a Camaro guy through and through, and I would not love cars if it weren't for the fourth generation F-body Camaro. When we moved to East Texas from the Houston area, we were waiting on our house to finish being built, and we lived in an apartment complex, and there was a 96, 97 Camaro parked near our unit, and I stared at it like every day to the point where I started asking my mom. She's really the car person in the household that we went to. Plus, my dad's a Ford guy, and I asked her everything about it. And we went to bookstores because this was 1995, 96, before Google, and we went to the bookstore. I still to this day have a hardback book on Camaros. It's got a 30th anniversary SS white with orange stripes on the cover, and I learned everything about the history of the Camaro, and that just made me love all Camaros. But there's still just a special place in my heart for that late, before they killed them off, in 02, that last of the fourth gen, 98 to 2002, where they, gave them the best styling of that generation with the refreshed front. Yeah, I've got it pretty bad for that generation. Unfortunately, my wife knew some people in high school that just, some would say they're typical Camaro people. Some would say that they're just, obnoxious teenagers, but she does not have fond memories associated with that generation Camaro, and I have the fondest of memories. So that leads me to when Matt and I finally, get Garage Talks permanent garage, that's where that Camaro will call home. Goals and dreams.
Okay, I have a little bit better understanding now.
Yeah.
So, you said you worked on the book for 2 years. I'm gonna shift us back to the book just for a minute. You've been working on the book for about 2 years now, and did the world shutting down, did that have much of an influence on when the book came out? How did you work around a pandemic in the midst of writing and trying to release a book?
There was we encountered a few delays, and I will chalk them up to just the fact that it was just a new experience for I work with a couple other people, like I mentioned before. I have my own small little team of people that help me out. And it was tough to get them all together at one point, just with I'm sure their lives taking them in other directions. But yeah, we did experience some delays, and then at one point delivery changed for Brocky, so that changed, and we had to kind of revamp a few of the images that were already taking some extra time. So yeah, there were a few delays along the way. 2 years is definitely the longest it's taken me to write a book.
Yeah.
Typically the longest after before that was, I think, no more than a year. I was pretty much on pace for publishing one book per year.
Okay.
And then this one it was just a weird year.
Yeah.
I don't really have too many specific reasons for the delays other than, the one change that was made. But yeah, it just took some time.
Well, praying the payoff is well worth the additional time. I mean, like you said, you're still waiting on a post from him, but it should explode, and we'll do our best making sure the word gets out that this book is available to be purchased, and we'll get that out there for you, and do what we can on our side just to spread the word and share the love.
I appreciate it. I can't ask for anything more than that. And like I said, I'm very proud of this one. So, on top of the minor delays that we did encounter, there's the editing process at the end. So, even after I have all the illustrations, I have the story, then the editing process, that can go for however long. So there were a lot of changes that were made by me, by Vaughn, by his team towards the end. But the final product, like I said, I can't stress enough how proud of it I am, because it's just such a good story.
Yeah.
I like the flow of it. I like the images are amazing. Shout out to my illustrator Rich, he's amazing. And it just flows very well. And like I said, I've gotten to the point where I'm just so proud of it, where I'll open it, I'll read it, and every time now I finish it, I go, wow, that book is awesome. and I don't typically say that about my own stuff, but like, I'm reading it to try to find something wrong, because that's what the editing process is. And now I'm just at the point where I feel like it's right.
That's awesome. Too cool. Yeah, I when I saw what the book was, I follow Vaughn on social, and of course you and I are friends on social too. So I shared it and I tagged Vaughn in it, and I saw that you had tagged Vaughn in it. I was like, all right, we're gonna spam Vaughn to the point where he responds to somebody in the process here.
Yeah, no, it's coming. They asked one of the last times, they asked for an extra week to get some promo together. So I mean, Vaughn is, I'm busy. I can't even imagine how busy he is with all the things that he's got going on. Every day there's something new getting posted, like you said, with Cletus over at the Freedom Factory, and he was at the compound drifting, and he's always doing something, and it's just so cool to see. I just, I'm anticipating our project to come across, and I know once it does, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, that's kind of the worst part, because you're like just anticipating all this, like, come on, man, come on. But at the same time, you're just so grateful and thankful for the opportunity to get to work together. So yeah, totally.
Absolutely. I mean, the book's out. It's never going anywhere.
Right.
I did it. It was it was a huge, long process. I feel completely accomplished, though. Once I see that book in my hands, it's kind of an overwhelming feeling.
Oh yeah, that's too cool. And our listeners and those who follow you specifically had the opportunity to get the book before Vaughn posts, and it sells out almost immediately, I'm sure.
Yes.
So here's your advantage right here. You go ahead and get your copy right now.
We will put a link in the show notes. So, if you're on your iPhone or whatever you're listening to, just scroll up, go down to the notes, and click the link, and you'll be able to purchase it right there. Get your copy.
It's on Amazon now. It's on my website, and then it's also on the Fun Haver website, which is Vaughn's website as well.
Awesome. Well, if we keep talking too much longer about the book, I'm going to start asking for spoilers. So we should probably kind of pivot away from that. And so, typically when we have a guest on, we have a set of interview questions that Matt likes to close out the episodes with. But we've already done the random misfires with you. So we're going to do just a little something special for those of you who do support us on Patreon. You know that we have an additional couple of questions that we ask after that go behind the paywall. And we'll throw these out there for all of our listeners, just for the joy of having you with us again, Mike, and plugging a new venture. So if you're ready, I've got one for you. Matt's got one for you. Keeping it super simple. Matt's got the better question of the two anyway. But
ready when you are.
All right. So we already know you're in more of the mid-2000s era vehicles. You may have already purchased it, but if you were given a $60,000 check, what are you buying? And in this instance, I bet it would be applicable to say, what are you doing to it with the remaining money?
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one.
Or have you already bought it? Is it the Lexus?
Well, so my initial thought goes right to I have a craving for a V8, which I did get in the Lexus, but it's not the muscle car V8 that I'm looking for.
Right.
So if you're familiar with my ATS, it's a 6-cylinder twin turbo. My IS300 is a straight 6. The Subaru obviously is 4-cylinder. I was looking for that maybe supercharged V8. So $60K. I think I'd have to say the CTSV.
All right. All right.
In a manual,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
And a wagon too, right?
We've got one
The
right
wagon
here
would
in
be nice.
town.
I would not be against the wagon.
Yes.
We've got one here in town that, when you're doing your road trip through, you could purchase it, keep it here, and I could follow you back in it. I'm wheeling and dealing here. So
Now we just need the 60 grand.
yeah.
That seems like a clever idea there, huh?
Yeah. I'm doing what I can. I'm going to drive that CTSV wagon. But all right. I firmly approve of that answer.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Not that you could get it wrong, but yeah.
All right, so you've already mentioned a couple of times how much you want to road trip. So I'm going to change this question just ever so slightly. If you could go on a road trip anywhere, and I'm going to say anywhere in the world, no, budget is not a restriction. Where are you going? What are you driving? And who are you taking with you?
Taking my brother with me because he shares that adventure, that drive for adventure, and he's good for it too.
Nice.
He would be a big help. So definitely, I would bring my brother, and our 2 dogs would be some co-pilots as well, if that's acceptable. And then probably to California. To be honest, we have family out there. My brother lived out there for a year. We've already kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
I would say California. Although you did say anywhere, I wouldn't mind seeing Italy.
Oh, there you
I
go.
know that's a little more than a drive. But yeah, California just to visit those family members that we haven't seen in a while would be an awesome road trip.
I hear there are some great driving roads out there in Cali. So
yeah, he did it once already. He went up through the Smoky Mountains and he made a nice scenic route to get there. So when he decided to live out there, he packed up his car. Him and 2 buddies, they had a Jeep. He was in his GTI, and they conquered the country.
Nice.
So that was cool.
That is cool.
nice little grand adventure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, before we let you go, we just want to give you a chance to let our listeners know everywhere they can find you, the best ways to keep in touch with you so that they can be, ready for the next book that comes out and the next big thing. And so we'll just let you share where the best places to find you.
Great. Well, definitely Facebook, Instagram. My business is Motorhead Garage Productions. That name on Facebook and Instagram will get you to me. You can add me on my personal Facebook if you'd like, Michael J. Myers. My website is mhgproductions.com. And then my books are amazon.com/author/Motorhead. And then, like I said, Brocky is available on both of those as well as the Fun Haver website.
Awesome.
And like I said, for you, our listeners, we'll make it really simple. We'll put it down in the show notes. So just swipe up and we'll have all those links down there just in case you're like me and you need to see it written out or you just want to tap on it instead of type it out. So who's next? Corey LaJoy doing the NASCAR book, or are we going, I don't know, who's next? Spill the beans.
Well, nothing. No contract signed at the moment.
Okay.
I was going to go back to my series. So when I started Brocky, I put to the side a book that I had just started.
Okay.
But like I mentioned before, I'm not going to give any details about it. But I can give you a little hint that my Motorhead Garage series. I'm going to try to touch on every aspect of being a motorhead.
Awesome.
So it'll be on one of the levels of Motorhead that I haven't touched on yet. So something new I'll give you.
Okay. All right. I like it. You heard it here first.
All right, Mike. Well, we just truly appreciate you taking some time to talk about your book, your process, and your rigs with us. And we'll definitely keep in touch and stay in conversation with you when that next book does come out.
That's great. I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. I have a feeling this won't be my last visit. I enjoy the podcast, and I look forward to the future with you guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, Matt. So, that was a fun one.
That was fun.
Supremely jealous. he's got a fun job, a fun career.
Oh, yeah.
We do too. We're both looking to build our things up as we go. But yeah, the people you and I, Matt, the people we have met through podcasting has been amazing, Michael included.
Oh, yeah.
And the people he is getting to meet now through his venture sounds pretty fun and exciting.
It's really cool.
All the same. So
Really cool.
very excited to get a copy of this book in my hands. Typically, when you hear of a book tour or something like this, the people doing the interview already have a copy of it, which Mike is gracious enough. He will be sending us one, but this was by no means a ploy to get one
No.
or anything like that. And we just had not ordered it yet. So we did not want to spoil anything for you. We didn't want to spoil anything for our families. So we were actually waiting until we talked to Mike about this book before we.
I'm really excited about it for me.
Yeah. Well, I know.
And it was really cool. It was really cool. He shared his, the passion about this book, and really felt like this was his best book that he's written to date. And, there's some creative stuff that you and I have done that I've looked back over and I go, wow, that was awful. But on occasion, there's been some stuff that's like, okay, all right, that was
I'm
pretty
proud
good.
of this.
Yeah.
I want to tell people about this.
So it was cool to hear Mike's passion about this book and how great it has turned out. So I'm super stoked about getting a copy of it.
Yeah. So hopefully our excitement is rubbing off on you. So we've said it a million times. You can check it out in the show notes. We've got links to his Amazon bookstore. But if you want to know more about what we're driving, what we're testing, what we're doing, head on over to gtgaragetalk.com. You'll find links to everything else. Until then, bye.